Hello, Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey.
and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. And Brandon, from that little brief little carry on, why don't you carry on and let them know what we're doing today?
Well, if it wasn't obvious, we are doing a series review of Supernatural that aired from 2015 to 2021 because of
Hmm.
COVID. It didn't get to finish in 2020. But yeah, so the longest running of horror fantasy, show of all time. I mean, I guess I
Absolutely.
say it's fantasy. I mean, dealing with vampires and
Yeah,
other monsters, angels,
I could.
demons, God, Lucifer. I mean,
Yeah, I
even though that's
consider
not fantasy,
mainly.
but
Yeah, I consider
yeah,
mainly the first couple of seasons to be pretty much horror. And then as the series went on, they kind of evolved
yeah,
from just horror to bringing in other elements. Plus, it always had like an underlining comedic element, but
yeah,
the later seasons got more comedic. An overall show that has a little mixture of everything.
yeah. It does.
Um,
Has a mixture of everything. You're right. Comedy, drama. I mean, a lot of drama actually, especially in the later seasons. The fear of Dean or Sam dying all the time. It
yeah,
just, but they both did a great job. Jared and Jensen did an excellent job when those emotional scenes had to be done. So props to them. But yeah, Supernatural is what we're reviewing today. Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, you know, man, me and Beth just we were on this show for like it feels like a decade because it's all we were watching was like Supernatural. It was our show to watch. And man, it just took us a long time to get through it. I never thought we were actually going to catch up, but
Mhm.
thanks to COVID, we caught up and we got to
You
watch it when it ended. So I was like, glad I got to see it end when it was still on. But I hated that COVID came, and it just that's another subject. But
everybody hates COVID.
yeah,
The
everybody
world
does. Everybody does. But uh,
Ballin' the Hobbit. Hey, what a Ballin' the Hobbit! That's the most swolest looking Yoda I've ever seen. That's not Baby Yoda. That's Braun Yoda. But
Braun, huh?
yeah, but all right, man. But yeah, we're excited about talking about Supernatural. I started following the show back. I didn't follow it initially in 2005. I think I came to the party maybe a year or two later. A buddy of mine, Craig, who's been featured on the podcast before, I think he mentioned the show to me in passing, and I was like, but he mentioned it in a negative. I think he was like, you have these, you have these like model looking guys, running around because the CW is known for having overly uh, pretty people in their leads, on the shows, not really realistic looking people. But I was like, well, yeah, I give it a shot, and actually, I watched the show and I really got into it. Once it started kicking off the pace and stuff like that, I got into it. This isn't the first type of show like this to feature people fighting evil, like
No,
type of scenario. Obviously, we have Scooby Doo that essentially is all they did was fight evil. But on a more realistic approach, if you want to go there, we have my favorite shows of all time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. Those were not my favorites, but they are up there. They're in my top five of shows of all time. And so it's excellent to see another. It's excellent to see another show to fill the void and carry on the torch for those type of shows. And I feel that's what this show did. I've been with it since it started, said
yeah,
Beth.
yes,
And Brandon
yes.
can attest to that.
Well, I can't attest to that, but She told me she watched it when it aired. I actually didn't find it till 2009 at the library. It's like Supernatural. So I checked it out the whole season, the first season. And I was like, "What? This looks interesting." So and I had known Jensen because he was in Dawson's Creek, uh, the last season of Dawson's Creek. So I knew who he was, but I didn't know who Jared was. The show for me blew me away from the first episode. I was like, this is different. I hadn't seen Buffy or Angel at that point. I hadn't seen anything like it to that point in TV format.
Go ahead and comment. What'd she say?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a badass show. Yeah, it's a great show. It's a great show. But you know what? Angel's better.
Oh, hey, those are fighting words. I like Buffy. I enjoyed Buffy. But honestly, when Angel started, I it feels like I switched from like WWE to WCW or something because I totally jumped ship and went over to Team Angel, and I really enjoyed the show. And I had like I don't think I have them any longer. But at one point I had all this like pretty much every season on DVD. And I had a lot of seasons of Buffy. I don't know what happened to them over the years. But
I gotta guess.
I'm a big fan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Buffy, Angel, and now Supernatural. I like shows that have horror elements. Fringe is another show that had a horror element to it, or at least a sci-fi element to it. But none of them can carry the weight like Supernatural did, in my opinion. Just it was a good show to have on for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about that show.
Well, we are. We're talking about Supernatural, and did you want to? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple, explanatory. It's about two brothers join forces to take out evil in the world, whether it be monsters, demons, angels.
Yeah. Well, that's later on. But it starts out pretty much with Sam was Sam was in school. He's in college. He has a girlfriend, and his he wakes up one night and his girlfriend is on the ceiling catching fire. He doesn't know. Oh Lord, I don't attest to this, but this is what Beth said. Two hot brothers. Fire emoji, fire emoji. All right. And Buffy showed that a woman can carry the show for horror. I agree. Yeah. But the show Supernatural starts off with Sam having a traumatic, thing that triggered a memory from his past, which is the death of his mother. His mother died in such a similar way. And there was a man with, I think they said the man with the yellow eyes, right? Was it the man with the yellow eyes?
Yellow-eyed demon.
Yeah, the yellow-eyed demon. Yeah. And that comes full circle later on in the series. But yeah, it started with that, and Dean telling Sam that their dad is missing, and he went out on a hunt, and he hasn't returned, and that's what made them join the force. So Sam never really wanted to be a hunter like Dean did. Dean always wanted to emulate his father. Dean drives his father's vehicle. Dean is like his dad, right? Yeah. Sam is the more sensitive one. He's more like his mother, I would assume, in some aspects. And he never really wanted to pursue the life of being a hunter. Now, Brandon, will you explain to the viewers what I mean by the term hunter?
Yes, basically what they do is they hunt monsters that the world knows nothing about. And, they started at, well, actually, it was Sam and Dean's mother. Her family were hunters. Of course, we didn't know about this till much later on in the show. When you get like flashback episodes of how, their father met their mother, and you find out what her family did. But yeah, they hunt, and that's all they've known their whole life. Their whole lives. Especially Dean. He was just born into this. I mean, he really was, and he's taken that mantle from his father. He's, as you said, he looked up to him, wanted to be him in many ways, and he becomes him in many ways. But yeah, they just hunt monsters. They'll search the internet for some mysterious death, and they'll go check it out, investigate. And then they'll hunt. If it's a monster, they're gonna hunt it and kill it.
So for the first several seasons, like whereas with Buffy, and I know Beth would appreciate this. Buffy, their headquarters was the library at the school for
Yeah.
most of some of the season. Then it went to like other places, I believe. But um, Angel, it was Angel's investigative services, and then later on, they had a big conglomerate, a big company that he was at the head of. But the guys, the Winchesters, they worked pretty much out of coffee houses and hotel rooms, like little shops, diners, or whatever. And then eventually, they got the greatest place of all time for them, which is the Men of Letters headquarters, secret headquarters, their bunker, which I really enjoyed that location. Um, but yeah, so that's what they did. Like Brandon was saying, they would gather information, they go out on hunts. They would usually portray themselves to be FBI agents, and they would usually use silly names like rock names, like um, I'm Agent Foley, and this is Agent Sting or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like they use names like that, and the hilarity of that is later on, whenever we get introduced to Castiel, he doesn't know how to properly do it, so he says he says like I'm Agent Britney Spears, or something like that. It just but it's just it has comedy, it had great elements, it had a great cast. Um I know I'm just rambling on about it, but Brandon, anything you want to say about it?
As far as the early years, I just loved, the aspect of going on a hunt. That aspect of them investigating the mystery. One of my favorite episodes early on was the Hookman episode, and I love that, because it was like an urban legend. It dealt a lot with the horror, the hunt of creating, well, not just creating, but finding these legendary characters in urban legend myth, and putting them on your show. It just, I really appreciated the effort that went into the show early on, and it was just a good old time. And then once, like you said, they brought in Castiel, and then they started bringing in, the more angels versus demons war, and I wasn't on board with that at first, but I did grab on. But it just felt like it was going on forever. Like I was wanting to go back to what it was in the beginning, more so than what it ended up being. But still, to say, had a blast watching it. Had a blast.
That bunker was a great location. That bunker had everything, and don't forget the pie. The pie. So, yes, we the bunker was yeah, the earlier episodes was absolutely phenomenal. The show finally found what it was. It found its footing and knew what it was, what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I love that eventually the show stopped taking itself so serious. Because the first few seasons it took itself serious, but then at some point it's like, you know what? Let's have fun. Let's have fun. The fact that we go to Comic Cons and people love us.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite episodes was when Sam and Dean wake up, and they are Jared and and Jensen, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and they are pretty much on the set of Supernatural, and and they're being themselves, and Dean's real life is it Dean's real life girlfriend was a
Well,
demon on the show, wife.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love that he wanted to like kill her at first, and he's like, and then he finds out, oh, we're married. How does that work? But uh, man, then like we meet the real Bobby Sanger, who is a producer. Robert Sanger is a producer on the show. But yeah, it was such a it was an episode that I like marked out for, if I need to use a wrestling term, I marked out for it really hard, because I love seeing them, you know, being able to play that or being able to play each other. Sometimes one will play the other. Sometimes they will play totally different type of characters. In one of the final seasons, Jensen dances, and dances very well. So
Yeah, he dances and dances very well. Oh man, but yeah, I mean, this show, as we've said, it had it all. I mean, you think about it, it had it. I mean, and I have to say, one of the later seasons, my favorite episode, I think it was season 13. I could be wrong, but I think it was season 13. They incorporated Scooby Doo,
mm.
and that was my favorite episode of that season. I didn't think it would work. I was like, how could it work? Supernatural Scooby Doo. But it was magnificent. It was like literally one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. I mean, it just, it was mind blowing that they made Scooby Doo work with Supernatural. I mean,
and it felt like a real episode of of Scooby Doo too.
yes, it did.
But with Sam and Dean guest starring and Castiel as well. And I love that they were aware that they were in Scooby Doo. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that element of it too. Another thing that I want to talk about briefly is the guest stars that was not. I won't even say the guest stars, but some of the people that got to start on the show um, was people you might recognize. Adrian Palicki, who she played Sam's college girlfriend. She went on to be in Friday Night Lights and Agents of Shield and Orville and much more. Uh, you have Dustin Milligan, who's plays Sam and Dean's brother. Um, Corbin.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
I'm not sure.
Uh, well, this guy went on to be in Schitt's Creek, that show. Let's see. Let's see. There's people that went on to be in Grey's Anatomy. I was trying to think of. I knew somebody that I was like, it's like one of very like Lauren Cohen. She
Yeah.
obviously she plays Maggie, right?
Yeah, and Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. She played in Supernatural in seasons 2007 on 2007 and 2008. She was in the show, and later on went on to be in Walking Dead, and there's so many other people. I can't name them all. There's one person I was trying to look for in particular, and I cannot find them. And it was the very first episode, I think. He was a camper. I think it was somebody that was on How I Met Your Mother or somebody who was on one of those type of shows. And I was like, oh, that's it. No. Corey Monteith, who went on to be in Glee. He tragically passed away. But yeah, he's in the Wendigo episode of
Another good
very
one.
small role. Huh?
I said that was another good episode. 'Cause I always
Yeah.
remember the Wendigo episode. I mean, and that's probably the episode I was like, okay, this is gonna be something fun to watch for many years. Like I knew that episode in particular, I was like, this is gonna last. This is gonna have an impact on horror and TV. I mean, this is just that particular episode just made me even a bigger fan of it. Which I'm already a fan of the Wendigo. But
Legend.
what's that?
I said you was already a fan of the Wendigo legend.
Yeah.
Lore.
Yeah, I was already a fan of it, and watching that episode on Supernatural made me even bigger fan. And just everything they did in those first few seasons just was gold. It was just everything. It was like they couldn't do wrong, and man, it's gonna be missed. It really is. Show's gonna be missed.
Let me ask you a question. So that leads me to a question. All right. So yes, the first several seasons was gold. They couldn't do wrong, as you stated. Do you feel that Do you feel that there was a time that it hit a slump in the show?
I would say later later seasons, maybe season 12, season 13. I felt, especially season 13, I felt the first 8 episodes was like, okay, I think it's hit its peak, and I don't think it's gonna do as well from here on out. I think they're running out of story, and but season 13 I feel is the worst season of Supernatural. But by the end of it, it turned out to be fine. So I don't know. I mean, you could pinpoint many seasons, not many, but the later seasons that are not as strong, but they're at the end of it. You have to look back and say, well, you know what? It's not as strong, but it's very entertaining still. I mean, uh, and there were some people who said they should have been canceled after season 10. I don't agree, but I don't think it should have been canceled. Period. I mean, I think this show, if
I
they
think
wanted to, could have went on for 20 plus
yeah,
seasons.
I
If
think
they
that it
wanted.
yeah, I think that it ran its course. I do want to bring up two comments that's on Facebook on my page. So Kathleen says, I love that episode. I assume she's referring to the Scooby episode. If she wants to let me know or let us know, we'll make sure to uh, point out what episode she's referring to. And then my buddy Matthew Carter, he said, Joe Aaron, I like the episode Scooby Natural, which Brandon just stated he loved. He says Sam and Dean make great cartoon characters. The CW should make an animated supernatural show featuring the cast of the live show. I'd watch it. And you know what? You're not wrong, Matt. I would watch that too. I think that would be an excellent show, and I think that would be a great idea. Actually, it could be
Yeah,
on CW. It can actually be on Cartoon Network. I think CW it can have an adult audience, and I think it would work too.
yeah, I think it would work. I mean, I think the audience would prefer a live action, but if you were going to go that direction, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't see an issue. They did do one season. I saw it on Amazon not too long ago. It was an animated show, Supernatural. It's like between season 2 and 3. Uh, but yeah, it was like $13, $14, 13 episodes, I think.
Mhm.
So they did do it. I didn't know anything about it, but they did do it. I don't know if they did it for CW or not, but it was made. But yeah, I mean, I would watch anything Supernatural. Like if they did a spinoff eventually, I would watch it. Now I don't know if that could be. I don't know if that would work, but because it's not Sam and Dean, but I would give it a chance. But yeah,
And
to the point, I would an animated version of it if they decided to go that route.
now that leads me to my next question to you. So we know that in several episodes, several seasons of the show Supernatural, there was what they call a backdoor pilot. A
Yeah.
backdoor pilot uh, is a pilot that is a pilot for say a spinoff, but it's like housed as an episode of a show. So, for instance, um, let me give you an example. All right, so for instance, you have Good Times, right?
Mhm.
The show Good Times. That was a spinoff of um, All in the Family, and George Jefferson showed up in an episode of All in the Family, to kind of help set up the spinoff show, which is Good Times. That All in the Family has so many spinoffs. You got All in the Family, you got Good Times, you got Mod, I think. Then you also have 227, which is a spinoff as well. Um, there's like so many different things that spin off just from that one show. But you'll have that. Let's see, Married with Children. They attempted a spin-off show. I don't know if you recall that. It was like set in a bar. It was a bar I think that Al frequent, and it was gonna be that guy's bar, and he's gonna have his own show. But it didn't work. It didn't work. They did a backdoor pilot, it did get greenlit for like a couple episodes, but it just didn't work. Um, there's been other shows like that. Can you think of any examples?
Uh, well, I can think of examples of spin-offs. I mean, more recently, The Walking Dead, but which Walking Dead finally did connect the unit. Fear the Walking Dead finally did connect with Morgan showing up there. But I haven't seen any like. I mean, Everybody Loves Raymond. Wasn't that a spin-off, or did that? I was thinking that was
Yeah,
a spin-off of something.
it was a spinoff of I think Kings and Queen
Okay.
or
I was
vice. I don't know if it's vice versa, but yeah. So, but what I'm saying as far as a backdoor pilot
Yeah.
is
I
an
mean,
episode
I haven't
within
seen
something.
that like on the other shows, like I did with Supernatural. I remember the two backdoor pilot episodes they did. One was had a dude from Never Back Down in it. It was about vampires. I thought that episode was awful. So,
Yeah,
but
that's what I was gonna point out to you real quick. First, another backdoor pilot that just came to mind. For those that like Vampire Diaries, they did a backdoor pilot of uh, what was the spinoff of that with the Immortals or something? I don't know. With
the original,
the originals, yeah. So they did a backdoor pilot within the an episode of Vampire Diaries that took place. It felt like a totally different show because it was in New Orleans and stuff. And I was like, what is like what is this? But then I realized this was exactly what it was. So, like you stated, the first one was with vampires. It took place like in Chicago,
yeah,
and it didn't work. Like I see what they wanted to do with it, but it just didn't work because it didn't feel like the supernatural universe. It didn't feel connected.
no,
Whereas the second one I thought could have worked with
the
with
girls.
Jody in there, right? Is that
Yeah,
who's
yeah, and her girls. Yeah, that I loved that episode. I thought, okay, I can get behind this, and I don't know why they didn't do it. I really don't know, but yeah, I thought that one would have worked because not only do I think it would have worked, it felt like Supernatural, and we were already familiar with the characters because they have guest starred a few times, so we knew these people. So I think the Supernatural fan base would have given it a chance. I really do, but for whatever reason, CW canned it.
yeah, I don't know why, man. I thought that would have get like I know like shows want to have a spinoff because it gives them another leg to run. Whether it's Good Wife with the Good Fight, which is a spinoff of that show, or uh, Lord knows how many Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, all these Chicago shows. But you know, we wanted a supernatural spinoff, but maybe it's because people want Sam and Dean. But I thought it'd been admirable to have a show with Jody and the
Yeah,
girls, and I thought that they would have been close enough connected to Sam and Dean where people would watch. Your
yeah,
thoughts?
yeah. I think that could be a reason, as you pointed out, that no Sam and Dean, it'd be hard to pull off. But at the same time, the fans are connected with Jody and the girls, and I think it would have worked. I do. I don't know. Again, I don't know why they decided not to do it, but I think we were connected with them and we would have watched. I mean, I truly believe we would have. I believe it would have done well. I at CW's loss, I guess, but it is what it is. But I feel you can do a show in this universe without Sam and Dean.
Mhm.
It's a big universe. You can do it without Sam and Dean. In my opinion, they could even do a prequel series with John. You know, before his wife, him really starting to hunt. Both of them actually starting to hunt before they had kids. I think that could have been cool with the
Yep.
two actors that played the younger versions.
I think that they could have done a show with just the men of letters,
Yeah, they could have done that
exploring the
too.
men of letters, because I thought that was very interesting. Like one of my favorite episodes of the final season is when we got introduced to Miss Butters. and I hated that their character didn't come back because I actually liked the character. I thought, oh man, this is cool. Uh,
Yeah.
to introduce this character, and you know, I thought that would have been cool. They could have did a series following the different angels, that went off or just different demons. Crowley could have had her own show,
Yeah, he could.
honestly.
He
Uh,
could.
but but yeah, there's I thought there's room for other people to be featured without heavily featuring Sam and Dean. You can have them pop up from time to
Yeah.
time. Now you can't, obviously. We know how the ending is, but but they could have done something like that, and I thought that would have been
Yeah, and
acceptable.
even with the ending that it is, I still feel you could do something with Jack. I feel he could do. You don't know where he really is, so he's he's busy doing whatever. But I feel like the direction they went in, they could have done something with him as well. I mean, I think it's endless. I mean, there's so many possibilities because it's such a huge universe, and I don't think it's going to stay gone for a long time. I think whether and Jensen do come back, I don't know. But I don't think Supernatural is going to stay gone for more than a couple years. I think it'll be back in 2 or 3 years. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think that that's a possibility. I think that it's good for Jared and Jensen to go off and explore and try to be other characters other than Sam and Dean. I know that people don't want to get, you don't want to the Mr. T phenomenon. I know he's B.A. Baracus, but that's how we think of is Mr. T is that, other than,
Yeah,
or I'm trying to think of somebody like Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld, or Kramer, Michael, what's the name? Or anybody from Seinfeld. Let's say that anybody from Seinfeld, because although I love Seinfeld and I love these people and they played these characters on Seinfeld, but when I see Jason Alexander, I immediately think, George. I don't
George.
immediately think Jason
Anything else?
Alexander,
Yeah, you don't
huh?
think anything else he's done. You think of George Costanza. It's just,
Yeah, that's what I think of, and but that's a credit to his work. They did such a great job as that
yeah,
character. But my point is, yeah. So when I went back and watched, say, Friday the 13th, the remake, I was like, Sam. I'm like, Sam is in Friday the 13th, and or if you look at was it Valentine's Day?
Bloody
Uh,
Valentine.
yeah, My Bloody Valentine. You watch that, you're like, oh, Dean is in this movie. You know, so I'm already seeing them and thinking that. Like, I didn't watch Walker, but I assume that several times you think Sam is fighting people in the show.
Well, not really. I would say he's the opposite of what Sam is, but you can't help but look at him as like, oh, Sam's a Texas Ranger now. You just can't help it. I mean, that's all you. Well, that's not all you know, but that's what most people know him as. Only, I mean, I know he did other work. He was in Gilmore Girls. He did a couple of horror films while he was doing Supernatural, but he, for most people, it is Sam Winchester or Dean Winchester. It is Supernatural for them. For most people, I would say 95% would say
But
that's the only thing they've seen them in.
but
You know,
this is a chance for, like, with Walker. It's a chance for uh, Jared Padalecki to go off and be a different character,
yeah,
and try to say, this is who I am. I'm not Sam. I am, Walker or whatever. And with the boys, this is Jensen. This is his opportunity to be this superhero. I think he's almost like a Captain America type of character that he's going to be. But I mean, I'm excited for him. But yeah, part of me is going to mark out and think, dude, that's Dean, or dude, that's Sam, But
I
where
know a lot of people want him to be Batman if the CW ever does a Batman show. And he did dress up in a Batman costume one Halloween, later seasons of Supernatural, and he looked like Batman. And I was kind of hoping, well, if Supernatural ends anytime soon, he could possibly be Batman. I think I'm gonna support these guys no matter what they do. I like when the boys comes out this next season, which I've told you, I'm gonna watch it finally, and I'm gonna support Jensen. And I'm currently watching Walker. Didn't hate the first episode like most people apparently did, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna support them. I mean, because I like them. They feel like people I know,
Yeah,
so they feel like family almost. So I want to support them, and I want to see them grow as actors, and just be there for the ride. I mean, that's what it's all about.
that's right. Well, I'm gonna share my screen real quick and show you something. There we go.
I have no idea what's going on. Supernatural shake. Oh man,
You remember this?
vaguely. I just like Sam just not paying attention whatsoever. Oh my god. Nah, that right there just shows you how much fun everyone had on the show. Right there. It's sad. I mean, we're gonna not just for CW, but for horror fans, TV horror fans. The show's gonna leave a void, and I don't know what's gonna fill it at all. But it's sad.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this last season, and I wanted to ask you. You called me after you finished it. Aaron called me after he
I did.
finished. Oh man, he was all messed up, and I was too. Beth can attest to this. I both of us were like all shaken up after that finale. Before you watched that finale, though, you saw what happened to Chuck in that previous episode. Go and tell me what you were thinking going into this final episode.
All
Did you
right.
really
So
think it
with
was going to end?
well with Chuck, Chuck started beating the heck out of Sam and Dean, and I was like, is this the end? Like, is he gonna just kill the guys? And that's the end. Um, but then they stood up and they was laughing and smiling. But Jack um absorbed all of the power and energy and took all of Chuck's energy. I'm not gonna call him what they call him on the show because I'm not that guy. But anyway, um, they took all his energy, and then he essentially uh, didn't. He just essentially banished Chuck, and made him a human.
Yeah.
He's no longer a deity. He's a human, and he has no supernatural element about himself. And then they go to the bunker, and they essentially get ready to ride, but they're playing Carry On, but it's showing like montages throughout the whole season and all the
Mm-hmm.
different people. And when I seen Bobby, I started to tear up a bit. 'Cause I'm like, it's Bobby. And
Yeah, I love Bobby.
and and then there's other people like the death of, I forget her name now, but she was the hunter whose girlfriend disappears in this last couple of episodes. But they brought the other one from a different world.
If you
You know what
hadn't
I'm talking
mentioned
about, though,
that,
right?
yeah, Charlie.
Charlie, yeah, Charlie was very. She's always fun when she popped up. She's a funny,
Yeah.
sporadic type of character, and I thought that, oh man, this girl could have her own show too. But yeah, when her initial death scene, like several seasons ago, it made me bawl. I was crying. I was hurt. To see her
Yeah.
die. And then but Bobby Crowley going missing. Just and then but seeing these people pop up in that next to last episode, like in this montage video, man, it had me like really like I was already like on the verge. And then uh the next episode, oh my goodness, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. And spoilers, they
Yeah,
killed
spoilers,
Dean.
because it was spoiled for me.
Who spoiled it for you?
Not by Aaron. Beth spoiled it. She said, "You're half right." I said it was going to be Sam that was going to go. Going to be. I felt throughout the. I thought that was the whole show's purpose. You know, they had teased it pretty much since day one that Sam was going to be the one that had to die. But she said I was half right. I was like, half right, you know. So I was like, gonna kill Dean? Nah, I don't see this. I can't see this. Like, no, I just don't. And it's on an ordinary hunt at that, taking out vampires. But I love that episode. I mean, because it felt like the first few seasons. You know, like they're just having fun. They're on an ordinary vampire hunt, and it just they take care of business, but Dean kind of what happened. I don't want to say what happens for people that have not watched, but
Yeah,
probably know.
it's terrible. And you'll think that it was like you thought there was going to be like a big bad that takes them out or takes
Yeah,
someone out, but it's not. And it's simple and it hurts because
it
that's
does.
it reminds me of the episode. Beth will understand what I'm talking about if she's still watching. Um, it reminds me of the episode of Buffy when Buffy's mom died. Um, in that episode, it was just Buffy's mom. Buffy fights vampires and demons and monsters and everything else, but it wasn't none of that that killed her mom. It was just simply an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm that she died sitting down on the couch, and Buffy came in and found her dead. And it's oh my goodness, it's a hard thing to think about because we've been through something like that recently, but yeah, it's a tough thing, man. It was a tough episode to watch with Buffy and that happening, and I felt the pain, even though at that point my mom was still living, but I felt the pain of like, man, that's got to be terrible, terrible. I'm a, you know, I'm, 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 I'm a, I don't know the term. Like I can feel people's emotions. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm very, if you start crying, man, I'll probably end up crying, man, because I'm like, man, I don't want to see you hurt. I don't like seeing
yeah,
people hurt. But where I like horror movies, right? But no, in real life, no, I don't want to see nobody get hurt, man. But anyway, that so this scene in Supernatural, oh man, when you realize what's going on and you think, I'm like, why don't y'all? Does Castiel? Does he have to drive now? Can he not just angel himself down over here or somebody? Please call somebody. I'm
yeah.
thinking call somebody to heal them. Call somebody to heal them. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, please pray to Cass or somebody. But Cass, I don't think Castiel has his wings anymore, where he can just show up like that any longer. Um, you know,
But
uh,
yeah, yeah. I have, when that scene happened. I mean, you just can't help it but feel the emotion. Because it isn't just okay. This is the final episode. This is a 15-year journey with these characters, and you're feeling you have felt their loss. You have felt their suffering for 15 years, and you're gonna lose one right here, and there's no coming back. That's what you know. You know, no matter what, they're not coming back this time, and that just hits you. You, I couldn't help but think of all the. Actually, what I really was thinking at that moment was by the car. I think it was season 14, or it could have been season 15. Sam had an emotional conversation with Dean that we're family. We don't give up on each other. And Sam's all crying, and Dean's like, oh, he's willing to give up. He's wanting to give up, but he doesn't. And they give each other that big old hug. That's what I was thinking of when that scene happened. How much they loved each other. They were there for each other, and you just see Sam's face, knowing he can't do nothing. This is
yeah,
it, and it. yeah, tears just flowed, just flowed.
Yeah, and
That was so
he's
solid.
like he's
Yeah,
like Dean is like Dean's like, hey Sam, he's like, don't bring me back, don't do anything. Just this is it, man. This is it. Just stay with me. That's all I need you to do. Is stay with me, and tell me that it's okay for me to go.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that was so heartbreaking. Because Dean would have had, ooh, Dean would have held on as long as he could if Sam said it wasn't okay. And
yeah,
plus, I don't think Dean would have could have well, he probably would have still died, but would have been a ghost. If Sam would have said it wasn't okay, because it'd be unfinished business. So
yeah,
Sam tells him, "No, you got my blessing, man. You can go." And then when he goes, and you know, and then they show life of Sam going back to the bunker, this quietness.
yeah,
Oh man, it reminded me of when my mom died, and me going back over to her house and nobody was there, and it's just that emptiness. Even though
mm-hmm,
the stuff is there, couches is there, books that you would read was there, places you sit was there, things like that was there, but she wasn't there, and that was such a heartbreaking thing to kind of experience. And so this episode kind of reminded me of that. I feel his pain. Anyone that's lost anyone, a loved one, I feel your pain. Um, but yeah, the it was a hard episode, man. And then when we get to the flip side of what's going on with Dean, uh, for Dean, he automatically wakes up in I get it, heaven.
yeah,
In the show is heaven. But Jack and Castiel has changed heaven because in a couple episodes or a couple seasons ago, we find out that in heaven everybody has walls and everybody has their own private heaven, right?
yeah.
So and it's replaying the greatest hits, the episodes of things in their past, like uh, uh, Dean and Sam's mom is playing when they're kids and she's playing with them in the yard, with their kids and stuff like that when everything was good. Same with a lot of other people, right? But now it's one big place, and like Dean comes around the corner, and who did he see?
He sees
Boss.
Bobby. Yeah, it was it was good to see Bobby. I mean I knew he was gonna pop in because he's one of the most beloved characters on the show. I mean, it was good to see him. It was sad though that we didn't get to see the parents. But with COVID and everything, they couldn't get everybody they wanted. But it was I loved the episode though. I loved his little time he had in there. It says time is different up here, and he just said it's just different, and so they have a little talk, but then Dean's gonna go for a ride, and when he's going for a ride, we're seeing Sam's life. It
My
feels like it
my
feels like
only
it's
criticism,
what
my
now?
only criticism
Your only
is
criticism?
the wig that they put on Sam. It
Uh,
looked it looked like the makeup effects and stuff, but I can understand with COVID they probably couldn't do all that they wanted to, affect. But it looked like it looked like still the young Sam, but with makeup. It didn't look
yeah.
like they didn't try to age him any. Like it's not like Chris Evans is Captain America, is old Cap. It's not that.
No, it's
Um,
not that.
oh,
No.
that'd be pretty awesome to see old Cap. I'm just gonna say that. That's a great idea. But but yeah, it's not. Oh man, that'd be awesome. But but yeah, no, it's not that. But it was just to get the point across that as Dean is traveling, uh, going for a ride, one ride, Sam has lived his whole life, and he has lived his life. But and so they didn't get the girl back. That I assume they wasn't able to get his girlfriend back. the one that was deaf. They wasn't able to get her back and stuff like that because of the pandemic. And so they just created an ending, but then it tied together perfectly. I thought it tied together perfectly.
Yeah, it
Um,
did. Yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, they're showing his life. He gets what he wanted, always wanted. He gets a family, and you see that. And I was so happy for him because I know that's all he's ever. He wanted a normal life since season one. That's and even later on in the seasons when Dean died, he tried to, he let go. He let go of the hunting. He tried to have a normal life uh, for a while. But so I was glad to see it. He had peace. He still hunted, but he still had that peace. He still had that family. So I was glad to see that happen for him. And of course, he's in the hospital bill, as you said. He's all not really old, but they're trying to make him look old with a wig and some makeup. He has a son named
named
Dean.
Dean. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's going to take over the mantle? So there's another idea for a spinoff show right there with the son. Although I don't think people would prefer that because you don't know this character. But if they did bring it back with Sam and Dean, I guess he would be involved with how it ended. But
I think that they
um,
could call it Winchesters,
yeah,
but yeah, I thought the ending was a good ending, and then after that, the cast says thank you to us
yeah,
fans, and that made me feel special.
yeah, you
It made
don't see that ever.
no, you
Where,
don't.
and especially on the ending, on the finale. They're thanking the fans for the journey. I mean, that you just never see that. That's why Supernatural is what it is, because they are about their fans, and that's why they do the Comic Cons. And they just have a blast. You could just tell though. Watching all these episodes, you just tell that this is like a real family, and I can't imagine how hard it was to say goodbye. For Jensen and Jared, those main two. I can't even imagine how
Yeah.
hard it was. But
And I'll even throw in there. What's Castiel's real name? Mick. Um,
um,
it starts with M, I think.
Misha, Misha
Miss.
Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of it right before I looked it up.
Yeah, he was a guy that came in. I don't know if he was really supposed to be as much featured in the show as he was, but he he became a fan favorite.
Yes,
Like
he did.
we loved Castiel. We love seeing him in this jacket and his talk.
Yeah,
Sam Dean.
yeah.
Um, but
He was a treat. He really was. He was a nice addition to the show. I like him. Beth loves him. It's like one of her favorites. For me, it was always like it was Sam, then it was Bobby for me, then Dean. For her, I think it's Dean, Castiel, then Sam.
so
Um,
this is a question I have for you. All right.
yeah.
So all right, you got to pick one or the other in all these categories.
Okay. I got you.
Sam and Dean. Pick one.
Sam.
I picked Dean. Dean's my guy. All right.
Yeah, I related more to Sam, his story. So I was like, I understood. I understood him more. But I mean, I love both. I mean, you can't go wrong with either, really. I mean,
All right.
two
Next
good.
one. Next one.
Okay.
This is speed round, man. Cass or Jack?
Cass.
Same here. Same here. I like Jack. I did like them bringing him in. But yeah, he, yeah, he reminded me of a younger Cass actually.
Yeah, he
But
does.
Castiel, I'm gonna go with OG Cass. So, all right, this is gonna be it's all right. I don't know who to put him up against because he's gonna be the winner, Crowley, and I don't know who to put him up against because Crowley's the man. Crowley and Rowena. Crowley
Oh,
and Rowena.
Crowley. Yeah, Crowley was my favorite villain. Who he never became a good guy, but
he became Dean's best friend essentially.
Yeah,
Him and Dean
yeah.
became best friends.
I love
I love the dynamic of them two. Him, Dean being friends with a demon, but but they were friends. They were actually friends. I'm the king of hell, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, uh, but yeah,
I,
it's go
I
ahead.
love his nickname for Sam though, Moose. I loved it. I just just it felt like he was insulting him every single time, but it just I don't know. It was a feel good nickname at times too, and I loved him. His final words, "Goodbye, boys," and he felt like almost like another father figure to a point. Not a good father figure, but he felt like one. But yeah,
I hated
Crowley.
that. Yeah, I wanted him to come back up for the last season or something somewhere.
Yeah, I did too.
Um, All right. Obviously, we both agree on the best hunter outside of Sam and Dean. It would probably be Bobby. He's my favorite
Yeah.
guy. Although you don't really see Bobby hunting. Jody, I would be another one. I really enjoy Jody. Just like other characters in the show were really good. DJ Qualls, his
Yeah.
character in the show, it was always a treat to see him pop up. Um, so yeah, there's other characters in the show that I really liked. I The characters I don't like as much. I didn't like the season dealing with the Leviathans. I thought that was a weak season. No, that was a weak villain. They were weak villains to me.
Yeah.
The
I agree.
Leviathans.
I agree with that.
I like Death. I like the original Death
Yeah,
over
the reason
over Billy.
yeah, he had a
Um,
presence when he every time he was on screen. He had a really good presence. Now Billy, she was okay. She didn't have that presence. She didn't have that charisma or anything. She filled a void, I guess.
she didn't feel like Death like
Yeah.
the
Like
original Death guy felt like Death. He felt like
yeah,
Death. He felt
he
like
did. He did. He definitely did. Um, well, I got one for you. John Winchester or Mary Winchester?
I'm gonna go John. Hey, in this world, I know he ain't Negan, but he's Negan. I'm gonna go with John. I'm gonna go with John Winchester. It's just the guy who plays him, man, is a great actor, and I love him popping up in anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go with John Winchester over Mary.
It was a good reunion though for the 300th episode with him coming back. I knew it was eventually going to happen. I mean, just yeah, you had to have him back at some point.
Mm.
So I enjoyed that they all got to come back, and it was Mary, him, Sam, Dean at the dinner table. I loved that episode. I didn't want it to end, but it was a good moment. Um,
Yeah,
let's see. Um, I can't think of his name, but he was like the British men of letters, the one that
yeah,
had a.
yeah. I forget his name too. I forget his name as well.
What did you
But
think overall with his character?
um,
Did you like him? Did you hate him?
I liked him if they would have kept him and they would have used him as a spinoff to in a
Yeah,
British supernatural show would have been awesome. I think that the way they executed his death in the show was a waste. They wasted a good character with an unnecessary death. You know.
yeah, I
Um,
like him. I didn't at first because I just thought, man, he's a monster here. But then he grew on me, and he never grew on Beth. She hated him. I was like, nah, he's turning. Even if he was like to stay a villain,
mm.
I would have loved him because he had a personality, and he was very charismatic, and
And
I loved
he didn't
antics.
snitch. He didn't snitch.
Yeah, but I love the antics with him and Dean. Like Dean wanted to kill him so bad. I just loved it. I thought they had great chemistry together. But yeah,
And
uh,
then also like Dean was friends with a lot of monsters. Like he was friends with the vampire.
yeah,
Um,
Benny,
Benny. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, just like it was a good cast, man, of people that popped up in the show. But before we come to a close, I'm going to show you one more thing.
All right. Oh, I know this one. Yeah, that showed me that one like a year and a half ago, I believe, or maybe 2 years. I had never seen it. I just thought it was hilarious.
I like that they kept the continuity with his like the rash they had from the Mark of Cain.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you one last. You said you wanted to bring this up when we were going to discuss it. Supernatural leaves a void.
Mhm.
What's going to replace it? You think?
I can't currently I can't think of anything that could replace it. There's like this type of show. So there's other type of horror shows. You have American Horror Story, but it's not the same type of show as Supernatural or a Buffy or an Angel. Those type of shows. Um, and right now, I don't know. Maybe it was the last of a type of format of show. I don't know if
Yeah.
they will have any of the shows that have like a ensemble type of group that can carry the torch. What do you think?
Well, last time we talked about it, I told you that I only could see one show do it if they did it right. That'd be the Lost Boys, but that's in limbo. So I don't. I think we're looking at something that's going to be the last, of its product. I don't feel anything can fill it with the way things currently are on the CW or anywhere. I don't feel any show can recapture the magic of Supernatural. I
And
just
not come across as trying to be like
yeah
Supernatural wasn't trying to be Buffy and wasn't trying to be Angel. It was just trying to be its own type of show. And it actually came on years after Buffy and Angel wrapped. I think Buffy and Angel wrapped back in like late '90s, like '99 maybe, early
yeah
2000,
uh,
and this came out in 2005.
2000s.
Yeah.
But you know it came in at the perfect time. 2005 to 2021. I mean, it just I don't. I really honestly do not see a show that can recapture this.
No,
But
you're gonna have to you got to bring the show. Like you can't.
yeah,
We live in a world where they were fast to try to remake shows and stuff. This show
yeah,
is not what a show that I would hope that they wouldn't try to remake. Since it's just now wrapping. Uh, so, but I don't know what CW's up to these days. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah, yeah.
like I don't know. I don't know the shows. I don't. I don't. This is the only show I really watch on CW right now. So
I know they have their comic book shows. They have their vampire shows. I think they still got a few of those. They got
Legacy. I think that's what
the
they have as
Legacy
their third spin-off, the second spin-off of not Supernatural, but second spin-off of
Vampire
Vampire
Diaries.
Diaries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got another one too, but I'm not 100% sure. Uh, they got that sports drama show about football. Of course, Walker now, but I don't know. I mean, they don't have that fun show that was like Supernatural. They don't have anything to replace that right now. So it's going to take a great effort to replace
Mhm.
something like this, though. Currently, though, I don't see any show doing it. I know they're going to revamp Dexter. They're going to revamp True Blood. You know, Game of Thrones is getting its spinoffs. Uh, Lord of the Rings is getting a whatever. You know, I just don't see anything.
Harry Potter's getting the show.
Harry Potter's getting a show. I just don't see anything that had the formula of Supernatural, that genre, being on this kind of level. I don't think we're ever going to see it again. Like it's special to go 15 years with this kind of show. I mean, most shows don't. You know, they have a hard time getting to 6 or 7. Like Buffy, I think got to 8, maybe 7 or 8.
Angel got 5, I think, maybe
Yeah.
6. I forget. But then Buffy and Angel both continued in comic book form.
Yeah, they continue comic book form.
But
you know, Buffy's getting rebooted as well, so maybe that could replace it.
yeah,
But
maybe. I mean, Joss Whedon. I would trust Joss Whedon to do something like that. Obviously, he did it before twice.
yeah,
Well,
I trust
3
him.
times really. If you think about Firefly, he kind of. But even though that was more space oriented, he has done that type of thing. So
yeah, I think I don't think he's in charge, but I think he is one of the producers. Like, I don't think he's the showrunner, but he is involved. So
okay.
I don't know. Maybe Buffy can, fill that void when it does come out.
Yeah, but
it's gonna have its own problem because people want Sarah Michelle Gellar back, so it's gonna have issues. But
and Buffy wasn't perfect. It wasn't a perfect show. Like I didn't like them introducing like this idea that Buffy had a sister this whole time, and then they never course corrected it. Like they just kept it going. Like she has a sister, even though they mentioned that's why the reason why she was written into it. Just no, Buffy doesn't have a sister. No, but and then like Angel did the same thing with Connor. It just with his son. I don't know. Even though I see that guy, even in stuff today, and I'm thinking, I think Connor. I don't think he's also been on Mad Men, but I immediately think Connor. But same thing with David Boreanaz. You're gonna always be Angel. I don't care what you're in, buddy. But yeah, all right. To close this, I personally want to say I enjoyed Supernatural. I think that now you can watch it on Netflix. The whole 15 seasons. It's 15.
15.
All 15 of them. You can watch it. You can binge it. It's going to be a long binge if you try it though. But I think that's a good show. If you haven't watched it and you're into like more supernatural elements and stuff, then you really enjoy it. I think that the show made legends like like salt, using salt to like shoot at ghost, or salt to keep ghost out and things like that. It's just really it lends itself to different folklore that people didn't even know, and it explores different things. You're like, I never heard of this. I never heard of this type of creature. It makes you want to look it up and like, okay, this is real folklore. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, I could go on and on about what I loved about Supernatural. For me, it's probably in my top 5 shows of all time. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. It's going to be missed, but yeah, as you were saying, yeah, if you haven't seen it and you're curious to watch it, it is on Netflix, all 15 seasons. If you're into like road trip hunting, you're going to have a blast with it because that's essentially what it is for the very first 5 seasons is these road trips and they hunt monsters. And that's all you need to know for first 5 seasons. And if you enjoy that, you're just going to have a blast.
Yeah. After the 5th season, it kind of goes into a different direction.
Yeah,
but it had to. It had to go into a different direction.
Yeah, it did.
But
it did have to. Here's what I love about it, though, is that the creator of Supernatural only wanted it to go 5 seasons. It's all he wanted it to go. And he left the show, I believe, after the 5th season because his story was complete. But the audience didn't leave. I love that. I love that.
We're like you can go, but we'll stay. But
Yeah, I love that Jared and Jensen wanted to do this for 15 years. That's usually, cast members get burnt out,
or
want to
get
try other shows.
start to fighting with one another, not like one
Yeah,
another. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, so the fact that they stayed together for 15 years is amazing.
you know,
And
there's shows like, and we'll close after this, but there's shows like Martin, where Martin started beefing with Tisha Campbell, who was playing like his wife on the show, or
yeah,
or the Cosbys. You had Bill and Lisa Monet beefing, and you have other shows and stuff like that where there's people that had issues with one another and was wouldn't want to be in the same shot with the same person, or it was there's craziness that happens like this, but it's good to see that these guys actually said no, let's continue to do the show, and and and
actually have
even
fun.
even in Fear the Walking Dead, the guy that played the son in the first season, throughout
Yeah,
almost recently, like with the throughout until Morgan comes, he 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 left the show because he felt like it was going in a way that he didn't want it to go. I think that way was to actually bring it across with the rest of the Walking Dead shows, make it the same timeline. I don't think that he liked that probably. Uh, so he left the show, which that's fine. We have Morgan. I like the guy, but Morgan is Morgan. I prefer to see Morgan. If I get my choice, I'm gonna choose Morgan every time. But
yeah. I mean, I love the character that he was playing. I forget his name now. I was more of a Travis guy, and he died early that season. So it upset me. I was upset in the direction they were going too, because they were killing off all the original characters and replacing them with characters from new characters or characters from The Walking Dead. Now you got two or three from The Walking Dead on Fear. So I mean,
there's only two people remaining from the well,
is there?
actually Alicia, uh, and
There was three the
what,
last time I
guys,
watched.
what's the guy's name? The the black dude that like that was had a lot of
I know.
money.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I
I
can't
can't
think
think
of
of
his
his.
name. And
Yeah, I
then
can't.
Daniel, I think is the name. The guy that was like he was like a killer
Oh,
in like in Mexico somewhere, or
yeah.
Colombia. And
I heard he was coming back, but I never did. I stopped watching before he
I'm
came
sorry.
back. That's all right. I mean, I'll eventually go back to it.
Okay,
Aaron
okay.
spoiled something for me.
But all
I
right, no,
mean,
go ahead.
but
We can close it.
just getting back to Supernatural real quick. It was just a wonderful time. You know, to get to know these characters and get to know this universe, man.
Mhm.
It's gonna be missed. I hope it comes back sooner than later. Uh, whether it's a spin-off show or Jared and Jason return, whatever. But I hope it comes back, because I'm gonna miss this world, honestly.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but it was a perfect send-off. I have nothing bad to say about that finale.
yeah. And
I
I'll
thought it
say
was.
this. Oh, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say another way that they can bring it back, in my closing statement, is that they can bring it back in like this, like CBS did with what CBS did with The Good Wife, with The Good Fight. They brought it in the app form, in their app, as a show on the app, where it's allowed to be little bit more rawer, a little bit more, they it doesn't have to hold to the norms of the cable FCC, you know,
Yeah,
it doesn't have to follow those guidance and regulations, so it's allowed to be a little bit more, a little
yeah,
freer. And I think that in that form of, like, not the CW app because it's terrible, but a streaming service app, like say HBO Max or something, which is that's the place to be right now. But if they was to get like picked up for a series on HBO Max. I think that Supernatural could actually have another life,
Yeah.
like even being a little bit more raw, a little bit more bloodier, things like that. I think that it'd be actually pretty cool to see. I think that
Yeah.
the idea for me is Sam and Dean are in heaven, and they get word that um, the hunters on Earth aren't actually killing the monsters, or but rather uh, bowing down to them or whatever, or something like that. I don't know something, and so they are forced to leave heaven
But would they be
in
like
order,
angels now?
huh?
Would they be like angels?
That would
If
be
they,
awesome.
because I think they would have to be like angels if they came back, because they're heavenly now. But I
But
will say this as my closing words. I have never seen a show take one song and change the entire meaning as "Carry On My Wayward Son" does now. I have never seen that before in my life because it means something special to me now. Before that, I liked the song before that, but it didn't mean anything to me. But now it has true meaning. I've never seen anyone change a song's meaning, like that. But that's impressive, though. I mean, what they not only for being on air for 15 years, but to take a song and change its meaning like that. Like when you hear that song, you can't help but think of Sam and Dean.
yeah, it's like when you hear "Eye of the Tiger," you can't
Yeah,
help but to think Rocky. You know,
yeah.
you know. Uh,
Which I had never heard of that song till Rocky, so but I can imagine people that had heard it before, then saw Rocky and changed their life. Well,
but
changed the song's meaning for them.
but we're not really giving marks for this. We both think it's a 5 mark type of
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but next week, God willing, we will be discussing
Royal
the Royal
Rumble.
Rumble.
Any
Yeah,
predictions there, Aaron?
I haven't watched in so long. I don't know who's there. I think I think I'm thinking maybe Drew McIntyre.
Drew's the
Uh,
champion, Aaron.
is he? Oh well, okay.
He's facing Goldberg for the
Oh
title.
Lord, I
Yeah,
hope Drew wins.
I hope
But
he does too. I really
uh,
do.
I say I say Daniel Bryan. Then if he's going to be in the,
Yeah,
you
Daniel's
know who I
been.
always wanted to see get a little bit more, get a push, Dolph Ziggler. I hate his name, but I like Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah,
Um,
Dolph. Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
should get a push.
I don't know if he's in the Rumble or not. Like I haven't watched it in a while either. I think last time I actually watched a show was last year's Royal Rumble. Honestly, I don't think I've seen an actual show since then.
Oh,
I tried
I
to.
like Weston to come back. It'd be kind of cool if old boy come back. Uh, Black, what's his name?
Aleister Black.
Alistair Black. Yeah, I like for him to come back. I liked him. I know that I think he might have had a falling out with him. It was my dog, but yeah, I like for him to come back.
Like I don't like. It's been a while since I watched. But I do know a little bit what's going on. Daniel Bryan was rumored to win the title, well, not win the title, but win the Royal Rumble to go and face Roman for the title at WrestleMania. But I don't know. They change their minds every 5 seconds over there. So
Yeah,
But if I was predicting of who I know is in the Royal Rumble, I would probably predict Daniel Bryan. I know Edge is coming back. It's his first match back since his injury. I just don't see them pulling Edge as a victor here because I know he's going to wrestle Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and I don't think it's going to be for the title.
is it a shoot injury? Like, is he really hurt? Did he
Yeah,
really get
yeah,
hurt?
he hurt his shoulder, I believe.
Okay, okay.
I was glad
That's
it wasn't his neck.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
but
glad.
he
I was hoping there wasn't something serious, but the shoulder injury is shoulder injury. It's not as serious, but um, uh, as far as people make maybe debut, there's always somebody that debuts at the
yeah.
Royal Rumble. Um, I don't know if who is free agents or who's not signed with nobody, but who I would like to see old school coming back, I would like to see an old school. Uh, I like to see I like to see Scott Steiner pop up in the Royal Rumble. That'd be pretty awesome. But I doubt if you see that. But I would like to see as far as making their debut. Um, I don't know who I don't know who's free agents, man. I would like to see somebody from Ring of Honor or something. I forget his name. The guy that snaps people's fingers. I like that guy. I want to see him come. I forget his name. The
Yeah, I don't know anybody in Ring of Honor anymore. Impact,
oh,
no.
he's big friends with the elite. He's a part of the elite. But man, I hadn't watched it so long, so I totally forgot his name. He but yeah, um, I like to see, but I also don't want to see people come like if you're established because I think WWE has a tendency of not using people properly. So I
Yeah,
think it's cool, yeah, if you come, but then again, they don't use you properly. So
yeah. I mean, I will say, like, I know it's Drew versus Goldberg. That's gonna last 5 minutes. Uh, just is Goldberg can't go. Uh, you know.
so Goldberg's gonna squash him, which is terrible. It kills Drew's momentum
Well,
if that's the
I
case.
don't know if he's gonna squash him, but I just know he can't go past 5 minutes. It's just he's either gonna squash him or he's gonna get squashed.
Yeah,
I hope Drew wins, because Drew deserves to be champion with a crowd there. And
you
there's
know who I
not
want
going
to
to
come back? I just thought about
be
this. Carlito. I want Carlito to pop up in the Royal Rumble.
Carlito was actually supposed to have been there a few weeks ago, I do believe, but he no showed. He said he doesn't do cameos. It's one of the I don't
Come
know.
on,
It was
Carlito.
like a
You want a
legendary
job,
show.
don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he said I don't show up for cameos. I gotta have a reason to be there, and I don't know what they want him to do, but I know it was like Legends Night or something.
Yeah,
And
don't tell Vince no. Tataka showed up, so there you go. But
he needed that
hey,
money.
yeah, well we'll call it quits now. But I thank you for joining us, Brandon. See us off.
Oh, I'm Brandon Spivey,
Aaron Whitlow.
and we are the Markout Movie Podcasters. Thank you for marking out with us today.